Well, we got our second shot yesterday, Sunday. We got to sit in the car. They came up to us and just jabbed us. Uh, I'm a little sore this morning, but Constance is really sore, and uh, it's a little rougher than it was last time. It's not that way for everybody, and I'm doing okay too. Uh, but we're so glad we got it. And thank you very much. I'm sorry we missed Sunday school yesterday, but we'll try to make up for it today because we're going to talk about the star ruby. We've gotten that far into the Magick of Aleister Crowley, the Handbook of the Rituals of Thelema, and when it comes right down to it, the star ruby is the first of the rituals of Thelema that the book discusses in some depth. So we're starting off with just sort of a little prelude to the Thelemic pentagram ritual number 1, the star ruby. If you're following along, it's on page 80. Now, once we get into the ritual a little in just a moment here, I'd like to remind you I've posted 2 very excellent videos this morning, just right under this video of individuals doing their versions of the star ruby. Now, I say their versions because however you end up doing it will be your version of the star ruby. We'll discuss what the text says today, and but the magic has to come from you. Thelemic pentagram ritual number 1, the star ruby. There are at least 4 published versions of the star ruby. Most of them vary only slightly from one another. For our purposes, we will use the version which appears in Book 4, Part 3, Magic and Theory and Practice. We have numbered each line for reference purposes. It must be noted that the oldest version, which appeared in the 1913 edition of the Book of Lies, employs Greek divine names and other variations that differ considerably from the later versions. Crowley revised the ritual in the 1920s to conform with Liber 5, Vel Reguli. That's the second ritual we'll talk about, pentagram ritual. To express his expanded understanding of Thelemic cosmology. We've included the information from this first version in the endnotes of the text and strongly recommend that it be carefully studied. I'll turn back and share that information with you as we go along today. The star ruby differs from the traditional pentagram rituals in many other ways, besides the divine names. As example, the parts of the ceremony are in Greek. The pentagrams are imagined, not drawn. The magician moves widdershins, or counterclockwise, around the circle. Perhaps the most significant innovation is the introduction of the invocation of Pan, and by the application of the NOx formula. Now, you might be familiar with the LVX formula of the 5 equals 6 area of the tree of life, or the Sephira 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But now we're talking about NOx. This, more than any other part of the ritual, elevates the star ruby above a simple banishing ritual by integrating the formula of the supernal triad. That's Sephira 1, 2, and 3. Above the abyss, in other words. The reader is encouraged to carefully study the notes which follow the text of the ritual for greater insight on this most important aspect of Thelemic magic. And please remember, as you study and learn about these things, that as your understanding grows, so does the depth and the profundity of the things that you're studying. So please just don't think you can open up a book and read a paragraph about the NOx formula and then that's all you have to do to think about it. As you advance in your own initiatory career, the importance, even the structure of these magical formulas change as you change. So just keep that in mind. Referring to the Greek words employed in the Star Ruby, Crowley wrote, quote, "The secret sense of these words is to be sought in the numeration thereof. To help the student with further research, we've included a table outlining the numerical equivalents of the Greek alphabet." And this is table 1 here on page 81. Okay. That's just a really, really rough table. And I'm sure you can, in 1 minute, find wonderful Greek Kabbalah gematria tables on the internet. Okay, Liber 25, The Star Ruby, AA publication in Class B. That's the Star Ruby. 1 page. I'm going to go through it and then I'm going to go through it with notes, okay? Facing east in the center, draw deep, 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 deep thy breath, closing thy mouth with thy right forefinger pressed against thy lower lip. Then dashing down the hand with a great sweep back and out, expelling forcibly thy breath, cry, Apopantos kakodaimonos. With the same forefinger, touch thy forehead and say, Soy. Touch thy member and say, Ho fale. Touch thy right shoulder and say, Iskouros. Touch thy left shoulder and say, Eucharistos. Then clasp thy hands, locking the fingers, and cry, Iao. Advance to the east. Imagine strongly a pentagram aright that direction. Imagine strongly a pentagram aright in your forehead, like that. Drawing the hands to the eyes, fling it forth, making the sign of Horus, and roar, Therion. Retire thine hand in the sign of Hurparkrod. So, you've made 2. Got the pentagram imagined in your forehead. Therion. That's the first sign of Horus. That's the second sign of Horus. Go round to the north. So we're going counterclockwise. And repeat. But say, Nuit. Just say it. Go round to the west and repeat. But whisper. Then go round to the south and repeat, but bellow, how deep? Completing the circle's widdershins, retire to the center and raise thy voice in the paean with these words, Io pan, with the signs of NOX. After you've done that, extend the arms in the form of a tau or a cross and say, low but clear, Promu iungus, epico mu teletarchai, epidexia sunoces, iparistara daimonos, flegegar perimu ho asterton pente, caente stelle ho asterton exestice. Repeat the cross as above and end as thou didst begin. Soy, fale, iskoros, eucharistos, iao. And you do apopantos kakodaimonos, but just before you finish off that too. Okay, first of all, don't try to quote my Greek, okay? It's Greek to me too. Phyllis, who I learned my Star Ruby from, more or less pronounced it like that. But my good friend that helped me with the Latin and the Greek in this book, who taught my son Latin in high school, pronounces it dramatically different. Okay. However you feel comfortable pronouncing your Greek, it'll be okay. Okay. So I'm going to read this over with the author's notes now. First of all, the title, Liber 25, the Star Ruby. 25 is the square of 5, the pentagram, which is the 5th Sephira, or Gebura, whose color is red. Star Ruby. In the east, in the center, draw deep, 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 thy breath, closing thy mouth with thy right forefinger pressed against thy lower lip, then dashing down the hand with a great sweep back and out, forcibly expelling thy breath, and cry, apopantos kakodaimonos, which means, away, evil spirit. Then say soy, which means unto you. Touch the member. Ho phale, O phallus. Iskoros, strong or strength. Eucharistos, the mystic feast or thanksgiving or consummation. Iao. Iao is the triune God of the Gnostics, codified or co-defined with RNRI in various rituals as a formula of resurrection. Isis, or nature, is ruined by Apophis, the forces of destruction and decay, then reborn as the resurrected Osiris. Isis, Apophis, Osiris, Iao. Advance to the east, imagine strongly a pentagram aright in thy forehead, drawing thy hands to thine eyes, fling it forth, making the sign of Horus, and roar Therion. Therion, okay, well, you make the right, the sign of Horparkrat when you finish off your thing, but Therion, We've already talked about Therian uh, as being, well, hang on just a second here, because I've got it footnote. When we talked about Therian 2 days ago, uh, Therian meaning the beast is associated with the second Sephirah, uh, number 2, Hokmah, above the abyss. It's the same as chaos. Uh, so in the first version of the Star Ruby in the Book of Lies, the landmarks were a bit different, and they were in Greek. So let's see how best for me to handle bouncing back and forth here. Well, anyway, you roar Therian. He's a lion. He's a beast. You roar Therian in the east. Give the sign of Horpar Krat. Finish it off like that. It's also this. Horus is the sign of the ender. This is the sign of silence. Go round to the north and repeat, but say Nuit. We've talked about Nuit in chapter 5. Go round to the west, but whisper Babylon. And also see chapter 5. We've talked about that. Go round to the south and repeat, but bellow Hadit. Okay. Now, back in the Book of Lies, instead of saying Nuit in the east, Crowley had you saying Babylon, and he had you scream it. Then, well, excuse me, in the east you roared Therian, okay? But in the Book of Lies you said chaos. Now that makes sense. Chaos, Therian, same thing. Shiva, Shakti. Chaos, Therian. Okay. Then go around to the north and say Nuit. And in the Book of Lies that you screamed Babylon. Then go round to the south, but repeat Hadit. And in the Book of Lies, the earlier thing, you said Psyche. Okay. Completing the circle, Widdershins, retire to the center and raise thy voice in a paean with the words Eo Pan, with the signs of NOX. Now, Eo Pan, an invocation of the great All, and we talked a little bit about it in chapter 5. NOX is the night of Pan, contrasted with LVX, light in extension. NOX could be characterized as light withdrawn. It is the negative pulse of the creation-dissolution cycle, much like the Vedantist concept of pralaya, the universal sleep that precedes and follows creation. Perhaps the most significant characteristic of the magical formula of the Aeon of Horus is the recognition of this fundamental fact of life and the joint application of LVX and NOX in the initiatory career of every magician. The signs of NOX are these. They're named Puella, Puella, Puer, Vir, and Mulier, or Mulier. Puella means girl, standing with the feet together, head bowed, left hand shielding the Muladhara chakra, the area of the groin, and right hand shielding the breast, the attitude of Venus de Medici. Okay, now that is, it's a very modest thing. When you see Venus in the half shell in the classic, what is it, Botticelli, she's giving that sign. Puer, or boy, standing with feet together and head erect, let right hand, the thumb between the index and medius, be raised, the forearm vertical at a right angle with the upper arm, which is horizontally extended in the line with the shoulders. Let the left hand, the thumb extended forwards and the right fingers clenched, rest at the junction of the attitude of the thighs, the attitude of the gods of Mentu, Chem, etc. So, you got your left hand at the juncture of your body here, okay, sort of at your hip. Imagine if you were trying to make sort of an obscene gesture on a wall in silhouette. Imagine if your body was standing up in profile, silhouette and your silhouette was against a wall, and you wanted to sort of make it look like you had an erection. You would put your thumb down at the junction of your body. Well, do that with your right arm doing this. And every time you see a statue, one of those basalt statues of Horus, he's doing that too. So, okay, the next sign is that of Vir, man. Feet being together, the hands clenched, fingers and thumbs thrust forwards and held to the temples. The head is then bowed and pushed out as if to symbolize the budding of a horned beast, the attitude of Pan or Bacchus. Like that. Can you see that? Everybody enjoys doing that. Mulier, the wife. The feet are widely separated and the arms raised so as to suggest a crescent. The head is thrown back in the attitude of Baphomet. Isis in Welcome, the macrocosm of Vitruvius. So it's like that, and the legs spread too. Then you finish off with, like in a Kabbalistic cross, Promu Iungus, before me the Iungus. Now, oh boy, I lost my place here, because I want to give you a nice definition. According to the Chaldean oracles of Zoroaster, each individual, prior to any theurgic operation, must gain consciousness of the agathodaimono. I'll say that again. Agathos daimon. A personal guardian spirit or angel who functions as the mediator between the aspirant and the gods. Sound familiar, Holy Guardian Angel people? These guides are called Iungus, or ferrymen, literally wrynecks, traditionally the birds of the abyss. Iungus, Sinukes, and Teletarche comprise the three celestial intelligences, or archangels, of Chaldean cosmology. So that's where Crowley got these names. Promu Iungus, before me the Iungus. Opico mu Teletarchai, behind me the Teletarchai. Epidexia Sinukes, on my right hand the Sinukes. Iparistara Daimonos, on my left the daimons. Flegigar parimu hoastaton pente, for about me flames the star of 5. Cayente stelle, and in the column hoastaton exestique stands the star of 6. Okay, hang on. Let me see if I need to take us any more into this. Footnotes. No, that's it. Then you repeat the Kabbalistic, you apopantos kako daimonos one more time and repeat soi ho fale iskorosi eucharistosia. Well, that was a clumsy read through of the Star Ruby. Cut me some slack. I'm wearing off my second vaccine. But I did post 2 very excellent examples of somebody that is actually, the first one is sort of cinematic, and the second one is really a magician really doing the Star Ruby, and when it's through, I don't know about you, but I feel really stoned just watching that wonderful presentation. Marco Visconti was kind enough to do it. Watch how he banishes the cat from his temple. It's priceless. Okay, that's it for today. Hopefully I'll be feeling a little better and more myself tomorrow. But if not, whoever I am is who you're going to get tomorrow. And we'll start talking about the Liber 5, Liber Reguli. And this is the one that uses the Avers pentagrams. Notice that Star Ruby went out of its way to tell us that we imagine the pentagram aright in our forehead for this one. But tomorrow in Reguli, we draw the pentagrams aversely. Okay. Continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.